Okay, we're going to go ahead and talk a little more about one of our special triangles, the isosceles triangle. We'll review that the two sides that are congruent are called legs, and the non-congruent side is called the base. Okay? Well, it turns out that if two of the sides are congruent, I'm always going to have congruent angles, and we're going to talk about more of that in a later unit. The two angles that are going to be the same are going to be the ones that are opposite. So opposite means across from the congruent sides. So if you go to this congruent side here, I've got a mark on this side. If I go to the opposite angle across from, it's right here. And then if I look at this side, which is also has a mark on it, my other leg, if I go to that opposite angle, it's right here. So the two angles, if two sides of a triangle are congruent, then the angles opposite them, so this one and this one, are congruent. Okay? This is going to work the other way around. If I know that two angles are congruent, so let's say that they gave me a triangle with two congruent angles, I'm going to know for sure that there are two congruent sides. And to find them, I go to the opposite side, and then the opposite side here. Those two sides must be the same. Okay, so how would this be useful in problem solving? Well, sometimes you might, in an isosceles triangle, you might only have one angle given, and you might need to find the other one. So, find the value of the variables. All right, well, what I know about this picture, the first thing I know is, I think about my interior angle sum. I've got interior angles here. I know that these all add up to 180. So I only have one of them though. So how do I find the other two? Well, then I notice two sides are the same. So I'm asking myself, what's the relationship between these angles? The two sides are the same are going to have an angle opposite them that are the same. So opposite here is over here. Opposite this one is right here. So once I've decided where my congruent angles are, I'm going to start my problem solving. Well, C, I already know. Okay, it's one of the base angles. So C equals 39 degrees. All right, now that I have that angle, so I'm going to go ahead and write that in there somewhere, 39, okay. All right, so now 39 and 39, and then I have one last angle. So if I wanted to use an equation, I would do 39 plus 39 plus B equals 180. Okay, 39 and 39, let's see, that's 78. And when I subtract 78 from both sides, it's going to give me 102. And I like to go ahead and double check my math with my calculator. Okay, so I'm going to come over here and just double check this by adding those three angles. 102 plus 39 plus 39. Just adding my three angles and making sure they add up to 180. Okay. Move this up slightly. Okay, so now let's try this other one. Okay, in this picture I've got two angles that I don't know. So I see that I have two congruent sides, so I want to make sure that I mark the correct ones that are congruent. If I go opposite the sides that are congruent, it's always a little harder in these acute and obtuse ones. I've got these two are the same, okay? The non-congruent side, another way to look at this, the non-congruent side was here. This is the base, right? The two angles that make that base, those are going to be the ones that are the same. Okay, that's always true. Okay, so if I know these are the same, I can't call either one of them 25, but I don't need two variables. So let's go ahead and just pretend. I know I need to find x and y, but let's go ahead and call both of them x because I know they're going to have the same measure. So then when I go to set this up, I've got x plus 25 equals 180. And then x and x, that's going to be 2x. I'm going to subtract my 25. It's going to be 2x equals 155, 5, 6, 7, yep. And then that's going to be a decimal, isn't it? When I divide by 2, I get 77.5. Now remember, both of these are the same, even though I need to write them both out. But I'm just going to go ahead and double check this. I'm going to do 77.5 plus 77.5 plus, what was my other angle? 25. And they all add up to 180, so I know that my math is correct. Okay? Alright, so go ahead and try some examples.